Hey, Brian Deckard here from Deckard and Company, and in this video, we're going to talk about my studio office setup. What the hell am I using? So we're going to talk about that. So before we do though, if you have not yet done so, please consider subscribing to our channel. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and it just helps the small business out. Um, so without further ado, why don't we jump right into this video? Okay, so here we are. We're sitting in my home office, right? Since COVID, everybody pretty much moved out of the office, working from home. So yeah, so I needed a setup to do uh, my long form videos, short form videos, my videos that I send to my clients because I send videos to my clients all of the time. So, like how to videos and stuff like that. And we're going to kind of talk about what I use pretty much on a daily basis. And what is that? My office setup. So let's take a look at it right here. So in this right here, we're looking really quickly as I scan across my setup. And you can see how the desk is laid out, and you can see where my camera is, my lighting, and my microphone. So that's pretty cool, right? So that's pretty cool. So what am I using? So just above me, you saw, um, when I say just above me, it's just above the monitor here is the Sony ZV-E10. Sits on a monopod attached to my desk. And I'll go through my settings here in just a second. But that's the camera. Love this camera. I was using the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 for quite a while. But I finally, you know what? I want to pull this thing out and start using it for these videos that I do here. Okay, and now let's talk about my microphone. My microphone sits on a boom that comes up over the top of the monitor, but it sits out of view because I don't want that microphone, that you see a lot of videos, where it's sitting down here in the corner or sitting right here in front of them or comes down and I don't want that. I want a clean image, right? Me talking to you. So I use the Shure MV7 Plus. Love this microphone. Love this microphone. Fantastic sound. I like the sound that comes out of it. I just love it, right? So great microphone. I've used in the past the Blue Yetis. Those are amazing too. Whatever fits your budget, just get a good microphone, right? Okay, lighting. Uh, I went through several different lighting configurations and different companies, and what I ended up liking the most and still use them today, that is the Amaran um, Pano 60Cs. So the Amaran um, P60Cs. Love them. I got two of them. My key light, which sits right up here at the 45, which gives me this a little bit brighter glow on my noggin, and then my accent, which is set off in the distance a little bit, which gives me the shadow effect. Yeah, gotta love that shadow effect. So that's pretty much my setup. So let me just really quickly go through my settings on my camera because and there's a lot of creators out there that go through these in a little bit more detail. But what I have found is that number one, if you want the best quality and you're coming into what I'm coming into when I do my videos, which is Ecamm Live. Love Ecamm Live because you can set up scenes to do whatever it is you want, whether you're presenting, what have you. You can do that, right? Um, but what I found is that coming from the Sony camera, you do not want to stream into your computer of choice, right? Whatever like your Mac laptop, or what I use is a Mac Mini for this stuff. Um, you do not want to come out in your USB. You do not want to stream into that uh, using the USB streaming. Nope, because it will only, if you use a USB, it will only produce 720p. Who wants to do that when you need 4K? Right? So, um, but the beauty is these cameras come with an HDMI, right? So you're going to want to stream into what you're going to. So here's the thing. Um, in order to get an HDMI to come into your computer, right? You're going to need a video capture card that does 4K. I use the Cam Link, right? 4K. So the HDMI comes out of my camera, plugs into the Cam Link, and then the Cam Link plugs into your Mac computer. And then you get the 4K resolution. So it makes your videos look great. And if you're one of those that produce your videos and upload them to YouTube or whatever in 1080p, which there's still a lot of people out there that does that, and you shoot in 4K, you can crop in a lot. It's great, right? Beautiful. But let's go through my settings really quickly on the camera. So on the camera itself, it's in manual mode, because what I was finding is if you're in automatic mode, the because it's constantly trying to give you the best picture possible, right? So what I was finding is throughout the video, it would get light, get dark, get light, get dark, right? And you'd be talking and it would just fade a little, and it was like, because it's trying to compensate for your movement, because as you move, the lighting actually changes because it's reflecting off of your noggin, right? Your noggin is changing the light, believe it or not. So the camera is constantly trying to compensate for those lighting changes. So I went into manual mode, right? Now here's my current settings that I use to do all these videos. I've got my shutter speed at 1/60, right? It just works. My aperture is set to f1.4 because I have the Sigma 16 millimeter by f1.4 lens on my Sony ZV-E10. Love this lens. And that right there is awesome. But then I also set my ISO, the lowest I can go, which is 100, right? Well, you can go lower, I guess, but 100 is where you want it. So 100 on the ISO, 1/60 for the shutter speed, and the f1.4 on the aperture, and it just looks great. And then I don't get those, as you can see, I talk a lot with my hands. So this camera is so fantastic when it comes to that autofocus, which I do have on, right? It's just so nice, so nice. It just keeps my face in focus, which is awesome. Yeah. So there you go. So that is my office setup. I love it. And it was fairly affordable, right? Fairly affordable. If you want to know the cost of all this stuff when I bought it, just let me know in the comments and I'll be more than happy to tell you what this setup cost me. And you actually might be able to find it cheaper now, right? Because I've had this for quite a while. All right. Well, hey, thank you so very much for watching this video. If you've made it to the end, you're awesome. And once again, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. It would be greatly appreciated. And until the next one, do behave. All right. Bye now.